afraid, they're not going after somebody who would likely fight back. They don't want a piece of you when you carry yourself in a certain way. So pay attention is number one. Number two, if you can run, obviously run. If the weapon comes out, a bladed weapon, and you are close to that weapon, you have to address it. But if you have a little bit of distance between yourself and the weapon and you can run, then run. Get out of there. If you're too close, you're gonna have to address it. And that's the third thing that we're gonna talk about. The third principle is self-defense against a bladed weapon. And I have these to show you this third principle. Now this is where this gets very important, that you do one thing and not another thing. If you back up, which is instinctive, you're going to want to back up. You're gonna naturally want to do this, to recoil. And when you recoil, your hands come like this, exposing, and this is what happened in the video with the man who was attacked with the machete last week in New York. He recoils and exposes all those tendons, all of the veins, all of that soft tissue. It just gets lacerated, and it did. He just got chopped up, literally, with the man, or by the man with the hatchet. He's just chopping this guy. Looked like he had a razor sharp, looked like a Gerber. Real common. You pick them up at Walmart. That's where I got mine, in the back of my truck. I carry mine around because if we go camping or if my truck gets stuck, I need to have some survival tools. But a lot of people carry them in their car for that reason. They don't often carry them in New York City like this. If you see someone walking like this, he's only carrying it for one reason. If you can get out of there, get out of there. But if not, you have to go into the attack. And that's where we're going to talk about distance and what's counterintuitive. This is where training comes in. When you train yourself, you train out your natural instinct. Your natural instinct is to recoil. That's everyone's natural. It's just a normal thing. Since your natural instinct is to recoil, you have to train out the recoil, right? So that's where we are. This is, we'll call this a bladed weapon. We'll pretend it's a machete, right? If I swing at my target, I'm almost always going to come down at a basic angle. It's just instinctive. It's human nature. This is the angle people swing a baseball bat at you, or they're going to swing a tire iron or a two-handed swing with their skateboard, and you see video after video after video, and this is the most common angle. And if you look at the slashing attacks that most people have, the slices all over their body from a knife or from a machete, they also reflect that same angle, that same pattern. So as this is coming in, I have the most amount of power when I have my perfect distance. If I can strike from here to here so that the tip does the most damage, that's ideal for me. And instinctively, when you strike like that, you're going to want to have that distance. Your brain does all these calculations in your head, or I should say the thug, the punk, the criminally insane guy who's swinging that bladed weapon at you, his brain is figuring out exactly where to put that on your body to cause the most damage. Now, if you back up and recoil, you've just made it easier for him to do the most amount of damage. Anytime you pull back, and I want to say hello to everybody real quick. I've seen all the hello to me. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys. This is weighing heavy on my mind. All of these bladed attacks, all of these violent attacks, assaults on the elderly, assaults on senior citizens, assaults on innocent people. There was another man, hello Sensei Emmett, in the subway, and a guy in a Superman t-shirt under his button-up shirt, and he's wearing a tie, and I'm laughing because it's frustrating. I'm not laughing because it's funny, but he's wearing a Superman hat, and an 80-year-old man goes walking by. This guy jumps the turnstile. The man maybe had some words for him, probably, that's not right. I don't know what he said. He didn't deserve what he got. The guy jumps over and just beats him, takes away his umbrella, beats him with the umbrella a little bit, and walks away. The point is this: you have to take responsibility for your own protection. You're your own first responder. And the first thing that you have to do is train away your natural instinct. Your natural instinct is going to be to recoil and to beg, please stop, don't slice me up with that hatchet. Don't slice me with that machete, with that big kitchen knife. And they're there to do that. That just feeds that need in the criminally insane man's mind to slash you even harder, right? When they see you doing all of this stuff. So what I want you to do is, instead of going back and opening yourself, giving them perfect slashing opportunity to cut all of the most vital spots, all that soft tissue, all of those tendons that allow you to operate your hand. And maybe they get in there and they hit something vital and you bleed out. no one's there and able to stop it in time, and you die and they get away with it, or at least you have horrific injuries that take months and months and months to heal, and you're never quite the same. So what I want you to be able to do instead is go into the attack. Number one, situation awareness. If you see him in there, number two, run, get out of there. Don't fight somebody with the blade because you're gonna get sliced. A bladed weapon, almost 100% of the time, you're probably gonna get nicked or cut or stabbed once or twice, and it may be a fatal stab, maybe a fatal laceration. It might hit one of those spots and you bleed out, and that's very possible. It's possible, but it's much more possible. It's 1,000 times more likely that you're going to succumb, to a horrific attack when you recoil and you do one of these. And that's what you're going to do instinctively. So instead, I want you to turn your hands and you're going to actually cover your head. And it's going to look like this. From here, your hands are up and open, and you're going to pull them in like this. When your hands are out like this, it's so much danger, getting sliced off, right? Getting sliced here. You're gonna pull it into here. When you pull it into here, you tuck your chin a little bit. That's step one. Now, if you practice it, this will replace what's instinctive. What's instinctive is this, practice this instead. Instead of back, practice covering and going forward. Now, your elbows are leading the body, and you're gonna use the elbow to enter into the attack. That means you're gonna close that distance. Remember, if this is a bladed weapon and I'm striking, I have the most power at this range. I have the least amount of power at this range. In fact, if they don't know how to fight with a knife, and a lot of them don't, a lot of them are just crazy, criminally insane people, they pick it up and it makes sense to them, right? And they come after you, but that doesn't mean they necessarily have any great amount of training and they know how to fight from behind the stick. They know how to close the distance and do all of these techniques. If they do, you're in trouble. You're in more trouble, right? But most likely they don't. They're not a seasoned knife fighter, stick fighter, or machete fighter. So if you, instead of backing up, you close the gap, you bring it in and you make it harder for him to get that naturally powerful distance where they're gonna create the most damage by slicing you up. So come in instead of going out. And how do you come in? Once again, your hands come to the head, you tuck the chin. You're just giving them this here, right? That's bone, that's some skin, it's a little bit of tissue, but it's not the same as this. That's a lot of thick tissue. That's a lot of muscle that they're gonna slice through, tendons that they're gonna slice through, right? You're not gonna be able to use that. They're gonna have to sew that back together if they maybe take that off. Instead, give them this so that if by accident, right, by chance, they do slice something, they're hitting this stuff. And that's still gonna hurt. You're still gonna have a wicked, serious injury that's gonna take a long time to heal, but not as bad as that. So cover the head, kind of like a turtle, tuck your chin, right? I don't like to think of a turtle because a turtle, I love turtles too. I save at least a turtle a month. Where we drive on the way home, there are turtles that come out on this big road where people are flying by and they come out of the swamp and they're huge. And I go over there and every once in a while I get a snapping turtle. I gotta grab them by the back and I put them back in the water. But the turtles are so timid in my mind. I don't want you to be timid. I want you to think of an aggressive animal, right? I want you to become an aggressive animal. And once you realize you don't have a choice, they've got this bladed weapon, you turn your fear into indignation. Like, how dare you? How dare you try to take from me my freedom, my life, my ability to go about my day unharmed by some crazy idiot with a bladed weapon? I want you to snap in your head. This is where training comes in. You switch. There's a switch in there you can flip. I'm no longer just going to be terrified of everything that's happening. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. And as soon as you come into here, if you do this training, you're going to create a mental anchor so that when this happens, the next thing that happens is your adrenaline comes up and you're ready to stick that elbow straight through his face. So from here, I'm here, right? And I'm going to leap aggressively. I'm going to go in and close that distance, hoping to do a lot of damage with this elbow, bringing it up and in, ideally right there, right? Up and in, or right into the solar plexus, breaking something, smashing something, putting his teeth so hard together that they actually crack and break, and that there's a shock wave that goes through his brain, lights out. That's what you want. That way you don't have to worry about his bladed weapon so much. When you do that, he's also not gonna have his natural distance to swing and slice and lacerate. Now, if he has a knife, we're gonna talk about a little bit different strategy, but this is gonna be an opening move for you. You're gonna cover up, and you're not going to wait. You're not gonna do one of these and try to time his hand or try to enter in at the angle and catch. And if you had a lot of time to train with a partner over and over and over and over, you might try that. That's still not gonna be as effective as simply attacking him more violently than he is attacking you. You have to take out his eyesight, his nose, his throat, his solar plexus, his ability to see you, his ability to be awake, his ability to breathe temporarily through his nose and the mouth, permanently through the throat. You have to aggressively go in and remove that from him as soon as you see that bladed weapon. So from here, this comes in, and you can strike low, you strike here, and as you're doing that, look what it's becoming a shield. I think of Iron Man. That's your Iron Man shield, right? It's just coming up, covering everything, both hands are up, and don't stop with one strike. I practice this with my self-defense students, and I give them a combination. We'll do this, and I'm gonna show you this combination. We'll do this, and then they're done. I'm like, no, you're not done. You're just getting started. You wanna come in, you wanna strike as hard and as fast, as aggressively as you can. Hello, Chief of Beef, thank you for that $10 donation. I got summer is slow. So I just got the notification from the power company. We're shutting your lights off. You don't pay your bill. So I had to do that today. That helps me pay the bill. I appreciate that. But you're coming in, sliding this elbow. That's one of the hardest parts of your body into, again, soft tissue of the guy with the blade, right? The violent assaulter, the criminally insane, the jerk, the idiot. And you're coming in to here, up into here, down into here. Singe Man says carries a length of chain. Yes, I'm gonna show you guys how to fight and defend yourself with a chain. Bike chain, the chain that you might find. I don't have the chain yet. I have to pick up a chain. As soon as I get a chain, I'm gonna show you, because there's so many great things you can do to defend yourself with a chain. It's just another simple self-defense tool. And I love simple is always best. All right, so you're covering up, coming in. That's your opening move. Now, if he has a knife, right? You have to be concerned about him doing this and sticking it in to your body. Him or her, could be either one, right? Equal opportunity. You have two hands. Let's say both of your hands work really well. Bring one in here, right? And whichever foot comes forward, if that's your left foot coming forward, step and put your left elbow up, because that means my left is gonna be closer to the target. It's gonna hit sooner. So whichever foot you enter with, strike with that elbow. Use that other hand to go for the weapon. Now, if his weapon is on this side, so he's coming with his right, to me, I might enter with my right hand and use my left hand to try to go and pin. I want you to take that hand and pin it against his body, if you can. If you can pin it against his body with your hand on his hand, then I want you to use your elbows to try to just destroy something. His ability to see, maybe his eyes, right? Maybe his ability to be awake. Go for that knockout strike, or his jaw, or his teeth. And you can bring it up a couple times here. You can bring it in here, into the solar plexus. As long as these moves are close into your body, meaning not like this, right? But keep this hand, when you elbow, keep the hand almost touching your head, touching your chest, touching your head, touching your chest. You can bring it down on top. That's a very effective, extremely powerful elbow strike going across his jaw or his temple here, or even into his neck, depending on how tall he is, to knock him, hit that process. Although blood floods, comes out of his brain, he falls down, right? Or if he's taller than you, a lot bigger, go into the body. There's cartilage here that you can break. Try to break that cartilage, but control this other hand. You pin that to his body, right? And you're striking here with this elbow. As you get more aggressive, remember, I want you to be more violent than he is. Use violence as a tool against violence. That's what this is. If someone brings out a knife, a machete, a hatchet, and they're coming at you and they've closed the distance and you have to respond to it, get in this position first, then you have no other choice. You're not going to try to take the knife away, right? You're not going to do Arnis, Kali, Salat, Sakal. You're not going to do one of these, or the old style, the karate style, where you block, and all that stuff just gets you hurt so much faster. Since I only saw the first part of that you could imagine me faking a heart attack. That's pretty funny. I probably would. Like Sanford and Son. I don't know if you've ever seen it, being from Ireland. But Sanford and Son, one of my favorite shows growing up. And Fred Sanford would fake, I could do that. And then and then I'd take him out, right? But I think the criminally insane, these punks, thugs, I think they would take advantage. They would love to give somebody a heart attack and then slice them up on top of that. That's why I want you to learn how to defend yourself. So just really quick. Number one principle, always go back to situational awareness. Don't be the guy at the ATM. And I'm not criticizing him because he was the victim of a violent assault. I'm saying that if it's you, pay attention. You see somebody coming in, stop what you're doing and look. Make eye contact with the guy. If you see the guy walking in, Stacy asked about closed hand versus open. I'll talk about that in just a second. You see a guy coming in with a hatchet, don't be there. Don't stay there. Leave your card in the machine. If the cash is spitting out, let them have it, right? However much money you've got, you're going to take what, $400 to $600, $1,200 a day? Whatever you can take out of the machine, let them have that. If you have to go to the hospital and get all stitched up, if you survive, that's going to cost you way more than whatever he can get out of your card, right? So do that, but pay attention first. If you don't pay attention, then it's not going to work for you, right? You're going to become the victim. If you walk around all day like this, especially if you live in a city where you walk everywhere, and you're walking outside on your phone all the time, you're just projecting this message. It's like you're promoting yourself as the victim. It's like, come get me, come get me. Come take what I have. Look, I have a cell phone. You want it? I'm not paying attention. Or if you do this is also common. You out of insecurity, fear, discomfort, social discomfort, whatever it is, anxiety, you do not make eye contact. You always look down. Do not make eye contact. Some people say that to themselves. Do not make eye contact. I've been with somebody. Do not make eye contact. Do not make eye contact. They're whispering to themselves. And I'm like, no, you have to look up and make eye contact. And then what happens is the fear shrinks. It's not like there's a bunch of pit bulls walking around ready to rip you up, and if you look in their eyes, they're going to grab you. And someone will say that. That's not true. You have to, you acknowledge the guy across the street, the guy, in the subway, or the guy, when I pump gas, I've seen it more than once, where there's some guys, and I don't know if they're waiting to cross the street and carjack somebody, but it sure looks like it to me, and it's not going to be me, right? So I look up and I smile at them, and what do they think? What's that? Who cares what they think? Doesn't matter what they think, right? Let them think what they're going to think. I don't want you to be a victim. So instead, pay attention. Number 2, run if you can run. Always run, right? Don't stand there and try to take away a knife or fight a guy with a knife or a machete or a hatchet or a skateboard if you don't have to. Number 3, if you have to, then you've got to flip this switch in your head, which goes from, oh my God, I cannot believe that this guy's attacking me. I'm going to die, which is a normal fear. You should have that fear, but switch it. As soon as you feel that, take a physical action. This action, that should be, and then practice visualizing your head in training. And you don't have to have something to hit. You can do all this in the air, but you make this visual, you flip this switch that says, I'm no longer going to be afraid. I'm pissed off. I'm a little indignant. How dare you? How dare you try to take from me what is rightfully mine, what is God-given, my freedom to be alive, right? My freedom to not get cut, my freedom to walk around without being afraid of everything. How dare you? And then you get in this position and you close the distance, close with and destroy. One of my favorite, violence of action and close with and destroy. 2 of my favorite training concepts when I did a certain kind of training with the military, and this idea of closing with, right? Because what's instinctive? What's instinctive is to back up, and that turns you into an immediate victim for two reasons. One, because you can't fight from this position when you're on your heels. Two, because when you're in this position, it's like you're opening up all your vital spots, all your soft spots, everything that's going to cause the most likelihood of you getting slashed to death and dying, or stabbed to death and dying. Instead, you close off and you close the distance. Closing the distance with a step, right? This is my left foot. I close with my left. I close just like a fighter, just like a boxer, right? I'm gonna step in with my left foot. Now, if I'm this close, he's close enough to stab me to death or slash me up with that bladed weapon, and I'm gonna close the distance with that elbow. Pretend that's his face. I wish I had somebody here. We could do it. We could stress test it too and show you how it works. But close in here. I've got some helmets out there. From here, we close in and strike 2 or 3 times. Strike the elbows. Put your hands together and blast them into the face, into the throat with these knuckles. But it's supported here. Your hands, you got all this extra leverage. Striking hard here and then coming in with the elbows. And this addresses the question of closed hand self-defense or open hand self-defense. You haven't seen me palm strike or punch. And there's a reason for that. Palm strikes, I can do an exceptionally hard palm strike. I can teach you how to do an exceptionally hard palm strike. A lot of you already know how to do it. You can palm strike with a lot of force. And know if you hit their nose, it's not gonna go in their brain and kill them. That's a myth. But you can hit the nose and it'll bleed and their eyes will water and their head's gonna ring and they're not gonna be able to see very well. You can take away their ability to be able to breathe well because they're sucking their own blood down their throat. So that can be a really good target. But this, compared to this, there's no comparison. That's a good strike. This is a superior strike. These elbows into their face, into their jaw, into their temple. And again, you gotta practice it. That's a superior strike to this. This, if you're a good boxer, you know what you're doing, you're gonna break your hands anyway because you're hitting against the bone. But this, you might break a knuckle or a finger, but that's better than breaking the hand and not being able to continue to defend yourself. And most likely you won't break a hand. You're gonna go for his throat and crush that so he can't breathe. So he asphyxiates and dies on the ground for self-defense because he took this out and he's coming after you. And all bets are off. You're not Mr. Nice Guy, Miss Nice Woman anymore. It's not about politeness. It's about violence. So you take that principle of violence and you turn it around. Remember, you flip that indignant switch. I can't believe you're doing this to me. Bam, you come in with this elbow, right? You throw a couple more, maybe lift them off the ground a little bit, up into the solar plexus, strike this into the face, and then come elbows to the head. And look how close I am. I'm as close as I can get. And then in here. Now remember, if this is his weapon and not a hatchet, he's not gonna stick it into you like a knife. But a knife, you're in big danger. If you don't take care of his hand that's holding that knife, instinctively, he's gonna just stab you. And if he's done it to other people, he knows what he's doing already. So if his hand is on a knife, you're going to pin his hand against his body as you enter. Or if his hand is already full swing and he's extended here and you've entered here, pin it against your own body. Either way is good, against his body or against your body, but pinned. Now here's what happens. I lift my arm to the side using these small muscles in my shoulder, right? I have deltoid muscles. I have the one on the side, I have the one in the front, and then there's a tiny one in the back. So, and he has the same ones. And again, he's not a knife fighter. Probably. If you're fighting a knife fighter on purpose, that's stupid. Don't do that. The point is this. For him he's got the knife, you pin that against his body, it's hard for him to remove it from his own body. If it's out here, he's pushing with his chest muscles. He's pushing with his whole torso. He's turning with his shoulders and hips. He's very powerful when he's out here. If you push that into the body or into your body, it's hard for him to unpin that. All you have to do is hold that against him. And look, you're pushing with your whole body. He's trying to remove it with just his shoulder muscles. Does that make sense? It's not easy for him to get his hand out. You're holding it here as you're striking with this other elbow. And then, ideally, you hit that a few times. You start to see some blood come out. You start to see his eyes go back. He starts to recoil. Stick that elbow straight down into the throat. Remember, he's got a knife. He means to take your life. You need to return the favor for self-defense, right? And I know that's horrible. It's horrible to think about. But think about this. Do you have every right to go home to your family at night? Yes. Did you go out looking for this guy? No. He came looking for you. So you have to, again, it's that switch. It's all, and they say self-defense is 90% mental. They being, who knows? You've heard that for years. I've heard that for a long time. Oh, Alex, it's good to see you. I've been waiting for Alex to pop up on a live stream. Alex is my biggest fan. We know each other. We go back a long time since he was wee little. Elbow, close the distance, pin that if you can, stick that in through the throat, come into the body, come up here. Don't worry so much about using palm strikes and punches. You don't need to palm strike and punch. Your elbows are so strong and your whole body is turning. And again, you're pushing here, you're very strong, pinning that to his body. I'm coming in, I'm coming around from the side. If he doesn't have the knife, if it's like the hatchet or the machete, and you don't have to worry about being stabbed with it, then get in there close, drive some elbows, and then strike him here. Practice this stuff. You have to make mental anchors. Your mental anchors, you have to train yourself. You have to remember, principle number 1 is situational awareness. Principle number 2, run if you can. Number 3, get in a better position. This is a better position because you're not here, they're slashing, you're in big trouble if you're recoiling. You're coming in. You're asking yourself, as you're coming in with a breath, what targets can I remove or destroy? What can I remove or destroy? His ability to see me, breathe temporarily, permanently, his ability to stand upright, his ability to use his arm, and then get started. Go extremely, extremely fast. Be as aggressive and mean and nasty as you can be in self-defense. That's what self-defense is. Self-defense is not patty cake. They call it hubad lubad. It's not hubad lubad, right? It's not some kind of patty. That's good training. That'll get you better at moving your hands. But if you go too deep down that rabbit hole, you'll become a hubad lubad master. You'll become a patty cake master, right? Or what are the sticky hands? You'll become a sticky hands master. You'll become a correct punching master. Don't be a master of those things in self-defense. Be a master of self-defense. Self-defense are the principles, not the techniques. Principle 1, situational awareness. Number 2, run if you can. 3, better position. Flip that mental switch. Go from, I'm afraid to, I can't believe you're doing this to me. You will not take that from indignant. I'm indignant, right? Principle 4, breathe. Ask yourself, what targets can I remove or destroy? And then get to work. What targets can I remove or destroy will tell you which elbow to which face, to which temple, to the neck, to the solar plexus. Maybe it's your knee. You're in here, and you drive some knees up into their body, lift them up off of the ground a couple times while you're pinning that knife to their body. The rest is just do it, right? It's train, practice. But what are you really training? You're training principles. You're not training techniques. You're trying to put yourself into that situation and ask yourself, what am I going to do? What's my plan? And here's the truth. Most people have no plan, but it's because they're sheeple, right? Sheep, meaning that they just follow the herd, that they're letting the shepherd, the sheepdog take care of them, protect them from the wolves. But guess what? You might live in an area where they're not protecting you. It said yesterday that they were having this big clash up in the Pacific Northwest. Beautiful country, but the politics there. Up in the Pacific Northwest. People go there when they want to join the Antifa. That's like, come on up. They're in the Pacific Northwest. And they say, we're just going to let the two groups fight each other. Right? The Proud Boys and the Antifa, whatever, the left and the right, the extreme here, the extreme there, the violent guy here, the violent. But what happens to the rest of the people who get their stuff burned down and their stores burned to the ground? They can't walk outside at night. They can't take their kids or their dog for a walk or to the park. That's ridiculous, right? How about step 1 should be we get rid of all of the politicians who won't protect us anymore. Talked about defunding this and that and whatever. That's first step. Then after that, that's sub-step 1. fix what's going on, hold the people accountable who are supposed to be protecting us. But then the next step, situational awareness, run if you can, get in a better position, flip that mental switch, train this stuff over and over and over again. All right, you guys have been awesome. I will see you in just a little bit. We're gonna do another one of these later today.